All right. Well, I did make a video response to Great Text, where I did the clips thing and everything. And I'm saying, well, let's, never mind. I mean, it's, going to be 3 more parts and all that stuff. And his point, he just kept repeating the same bemoaning over and over and over again, like somehow virtual reality means the end of the human race. I mean, it's just ludicrous. I mean, I can't stop Pyro from wanting to have kids all over the place. He wants virtual ones, he wants real ones, he wants them all over the goddamn place. I mean, what are you talking about? There's really no threat of that. And if there was, even if there was some practical threat that the majority of people would say, no, let's not use the artificial placenta that's going to be developed, scientists say, within the next 3 to 5 years. Let's not use that to, gestate some new human beings to put in virtual reality. Let's say that everybody said, no, let's not make new victims to put into the virtual reality. Even if that happened, what would be the horror? I mean, your argument is so ludicrous. Everybody should weep for the non-existent. There's a bunch of non-existent things. Oh my God, what do we do? The non-existent aren't existent. Like we all should get into a huge panic because somehow the non-existent are trapped in Nonexistia. And Nonexistia is like some kind of horrible place where they're, non-existent. And we must do something to get the non-existent out of Nonexistia. I mean, it's stupid. And there's about a gazillion, trillion people in Nonexistia. How are we going to get all those people into reality? And especially in the virtual reality. I mean, that is kind of a high expectation. You're just such a stupid argument. I mean, if there's 3 people on Earth, you want 6 people. If there's 6 people, you want 12 people. If there's 12 people, that's not enough. We've got to have 400. Then we get to 6.5 billion. That's not enough, right? Because there's still a whole bunch of non-existents. So why don't we have 12 billion people on Earth? Or why don't we have 6 trillion people on Earth, right? There's no end to it. It's non-logic. What are you fucking doing? Doesn't make any fucking sense. You have this artificial perception that there's some doing that needs doing. Alright, and you don't really get it, okay? That the only reason why there's any doing that needs doing is because you keep creating the do-needer, the thing that needs to have something done to it, that needs to be fed. So, whatever. Just a ludicrous argument. There's no chance, I mean, I wouldn't care, but there's no chance that the human race is going to say, no, let's not keep perpetuating the machine. So, virtual reality, if it was created, it would be perpetuated. There would be mechanisms to put new people into it. And I'm sure people would love to have their memory downloaded and popped right into the new little human beings. No problem there. They'd love the eternal life idea. So whatever, no sale. Alright, and the rest of his video is just all this crap that somehow suffering is wonderful, but not really bad suffering, but just, mediocrity suffering, and this amount of suffering. This much suffering is okay. He likes this much because, it makes a hurdle for you to jump over, so it keeps you interested, so you can jump over the hurdle, so you can get 5 minutes of happiness, and you can spend 3 years jumping over another hurdle for 5 minutes of happiness. We can just play the Christmas present syndrome game like little children. We can keep chasing the Christmas promise and, keep having the hangover the day after. It's just such silliness. It's a silly argument. It's not logic. The DNA molecule has created this mess, okay? Natural selection, an ignorant force. It would be idiotic for us as intelligences not to see the special nature of consciousness and sentience and to say, yeah, we should give that the best environment possible. That is a really delicate, interesting fucking thing, this consciousness and intelligence thing. We should really create a better world for it. We should cherish it. We should put it in a really fancy glass, with little carvings on it and shit. We shouldn't leave it on a fucking dirty floor. I mean, leaving consciousness subjected to the whims and fancies of goddamn a real natural world is idiotic. And human beings have struggled with what little power they have had to try to overwhelm and fight those natural forces that keep imposing all this mediocrity and suffering on them. It's just idiotic. The fact that you have some logical equation in your head that says it's all okay, that somehow we're accomplishing something and the price hasn't been too high, is just your subjective, nonsensical, out of your ass opinion. Alright? You can't rationalize it in any way, shape, or form. Because I could make an opposite argument going to either one, any kind of extreme. I could say, well, a Holocaust isn't really a Holocaust until it's 6 billion people, not 6 million people. And then somebody else could argue, no, it's 3 million. And then somebody else could argue, no, it's 3,000. I mean, it's all subjective nonsense, because the bottom line is that any negative not satisfied remains a negative. Right? It doesn't go away, it doesn't evaporate somewhere. And you have to account for it, and you can't account for it with a pleasure you've already consumed the value of. I've already made this point, so I won't make it again. But come on, you grow a brain. This is, there is nothing wrong with looking at nature and saying we can do better. There's nothing wrong with appreciating that there is conditions of life that aren't worth living, and coming up with at least the extremes, at least defining the extremes of that reality. I mean, any idiot who would look at a rabid dog in a cage and say, oh, but wait a minute, it's alive, it has desires, it still has passion, so let's let it suffer, let's let it live, it's insanity. Okay, let's let it go through the whole horrible event. Let's not interrupt it. Let's not engage any kind of empathy or rationality and impose our will on its marvelous desire. Okay, because it still has a desire. It still is propelled. It's not saying kill me. It's saying let me bite your fucking neck. But that doesn't matter, because that's its personal will and desire. So we have to respect its personal will and desire. What a pile of crap. I mean, really, there's nothing logical in saying any life is a good life. That's just stupid. And you say, well, maybe you can make the argument that it's really hard to make these definitions as absolutes, but to say they don't exist as absolutes is just ludicrous, because they do, because we all admit they exist. We all rationally say, wait the fuck a minute, I wouldn't want to live that fucking life. I wouldn't want ALS and elephant man disease. I mean, that combination probably hasn't been done yet, right? So do you want to be the magic consciousness that gets the privilege of being born with ALS and elephant man disease? All right? Do you want to do it? Are you volunteering, you fucker? Because until you're willing to volunteer and say, no, I'll exclusively take control of that one, fuck you. You're just playing with victims then, and you're just wiping them up, somehow saying they don't exist, that the horror does not exist because gray text says it's all worthwhile. And as long as we perpetuate the species and keep playing the game and keep riding the roller coaster, somehow the roller coaster will eventually reach the rainbow. It isn't going to go there, gray text. In all probability, it's going to go right off a motherfucking cliff. Okay, there's no rainbow, there's no unicorn village, there's no magic land. Okay, it's just this perpetual chase for a perception of cheese, and that's it. There's a maze game, okay, with grotesquely, moronically crude architecture. The least we can do is give consciousness a better game. We can give them a more elegant, and at least a more enriching game to play. So, fuck you.